Hello, SGDQ. I am so excited to showcase this run for you. We are here with some Hollow Knight Silksong, and this is a run that is neat. So cap it off with a credit sequence. So I hope you're all ready. Do you all want to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Nicole.
I'm Allison Apet.
And I'm Quacksilver.
All right, thank you for those introductions. Let's go ahead and get started. So we're gonna start a fresh save. Do you want to count me down?
Let's do it.
Let's start in 3,
2, 1, go! Good luck, Math.
Thank you, thank you. So as we load in here, let me just describe a little bit about the run that we're... So we are, as I mentioned, going to be rolling credits, but we are also going to be saving absolutely all of the fleas along the way. There are 30 lost fleas in Farloom, and we are going to find every single one of them. That involves crossing just about all of the map. It involves quite a bit of combat. It involves a lot of movement, some fun platforming, all sorts of tips and tricks, and a copious amount of flea brew, which I'm very excited to introduce to you all. So as we load on in here, the game begins with Hornet having fallen down into the moss grotto, and we need to climb our way out. The first 10 or so minutes of this run will be just setting ourselves up to start the flea saving. But once we do, we will be saving fleas for the next 2 hours or so. So very excited. The first bit of movement that you'll immediately notice me using is the diagonal pogo here. So people who played a lot of Hollow Knight and then started playing Silksong may have quickly realized that the pogo is suddenly diagonal, and that is a very frustrating point of a casual playthrough for most people, but it turns out to be an extremely useful part of the speedrun, because this is significantly faster than walking. But don't worry, we will be picking up dash before too long, and once we do, we can stop with all of the constant pogos.
And worth noting, as Hornet has tummy troubles on the big screen for a second, that for each of those diagonal pogos, Math is returning the stick to neutral to landing lag from landing from the pogo, so it's a bit of a rhythm for each and every one of these pogos in the early game.
Yes, absolutely. So there are a couple of different ways to do these pogos. If you are a beginner, then you can do slightly higher pogos where you don't get that end lag, but if you want to move as fast as possible, you need to do what we call neutral pogos, where you do let go of the directional input as you hit the ground, just on the frame that you hit the ground though. So it ends up being quite a tricky rhythm. I do not claim to be the best at it, but I also do play with an analog stick on controller, so a controversial choice among Silksong runners for sure.
And this helps us go a lot faster. This saves like multiple minutes in like the first like 10 or so minutes that run auto. So
yeah, it is an absolutely massive time save, unfortunately for some. But yeah, now we come across the very first boss of the run, and this one is more or less scripted if she behaves. This is Moss Mother. The main thing that we're trying to do with Moss Mother is keep her along this right wall as much as we can. That's because when she does her headbang attack, she hits the top of the ceiling, where we can still hit her instead of flying all the way up here. Yeah. So that is the first boss down. She's a little bit of a pushover, but let me tell you, in Silksong, that does not remain true. All the remaining bosses that we will fight very much can and possibly will kill me. So we will see how the rest goes.
Also, everyone wave goodbye to taking 1 damage from anything for the next 2 hours.
but first, more tummy ache problems.
Yeah.
Yes, this is where the tummy ache problems get the best of Hornet, and we meet the chapel maid, who we will only be speaking to this once for the duration of the run. But we have a moment here, so why don't we check in and see how that flea game incentive is going, because I'm very excited for that showcase if we can beat that.
Well, you should be pretty excited, Math, because it is already over 60% of the way met. Over $6,000 of the $10,000 needed to meet that incentive. Unbelievable.
Absolutely incredible. Thank you to everyone who has been donating to that. I am very excited for that showcase. Just to quickly run down what that is for those who may not know, there are a set of 3 mini games in the game that are centered around fleas. They are found quite late in the game, so I have a separate save file prepared to play those mini games. But they are absolutely adorable. They are focused around the fleas. They are flea dodge, flea bounce, and flea juggle. And only one of those is incredibly difficult and infuriating.
And also, it's an opportunity to see fleas in their full battle regalia.
Yes,
you don't want to miss
absolutely.
that extremely intense and not at all adorable thing.
All right, so here we're gonna have the first major skip of the run. This is called the Beastfly Pogo. And what we do is we lure that Beastfly up there and Pogo up here. That saves something like a minute, basically skips going around the entirety of the marrow, and it was found on the very first day the game was out. So the speedrunning community was here pretty much immediately with this game.
I believe maybe not chronologically the first, but I know, Math, you found that independently in your casual playthrough on day 1, right?
Sure did.
Yeah.
Yes. I was looking to break this game a little bit once I started playing, and it was quite possible.
I also want to note that we got a double Pashanka, so this run is blessed.
Oh,
Let's go.
amazing. That is relatively rare. So the double Pashanka is Chakra's way of saying good luck. We won't see as much of Chakra in this run as I would like.
So here, Math is using a secret button, which is depressing an analog stick on controller to taunt as Hornet. That baits the acne there to a position where you can pogo off of it to skip walking around to get our first Silk skill.
Yes, and this is the only Silk skill we'll be getting in this run. It is Silk Spear. It is needed to fight the next boss, but it also provides a very strong damage source for us for pretty much the entire run. So the Silk Spear deals triple the needle damage, and that does go up when we get needle upgrades, which is not the way that it worked in Hollow Knight, where spells dealt static damage, but you could upgrade your nail. Here, the spells are scaling with your needle, so it's very good to get our needle upgrades and to continue to use our spells the entire game. But now we come up on the first real tricky boss of the run. This is the Bell Beast, and I'm going to be going for a pretty tight phase skip if I can get it. So the Bell Beast has a pretty small amount of health and has a very long second phase. So we are hoping to get just enough damage in to where we can deal the second half of the Bell Beast's health pool during the phase transition. So we're on pace here. Perfect.
Nice.
Yeah, so that saves something like 20 seconds. There's a pretty long phase transition and an entire second phase that we need to do. But now we're going to go through quite a bit of a sequence here to collect a Silk Heart. So this is a good time to hear some of those donations.
I have one here from someone named Quacksilver.
Oh.
$121.35. It says, "Hi, Math, sincerity incoming. Donating this amount as the reverse of 5/31/21, the day I came out as trans on the internet. A feat I would not have been courageous enough to pursue without your kindness and warmth. And my life has been everything because of it. You are the embodiment of the ideal of speedrunning. That speedrunning is great because of the people you meet and their capacity for good. And the video games are just the medium by which we find one another. I would not be a version of myself I recognize without you. Here's to another 5 years and then some. Less than 3. Also, what the heck? I can't believe you're beating the game in this meme run. SMH 0 out of 10 speed run."
Quack, you cannot hit me with that 10 minutes into the run.
That was on Kuiper.
I'm reading this one first. This is the first one.
I love you, man.
We love you, Quack.
Extremely kind words, Quack, and you've been an absolutely incredible friend in the speedrunning space, and yeah, here's to many more years of silly meme runs. All right, so who we met there was the Bell Beast. That is Aira, as we like to call her, mostly because that is what Hornet says when she is calling the Bell Beast. that is the fast travel system in this game. So we did have to fight the Bell Bees just to, make her come to her senses. But don't worry, now for the rest of the run, the Bell Bees will be a friend. And we will be taking good advantage of that fast travel system because this run does need to go absolutely all over the map. So that includes just about every area, and we do need to return to many areas. And that is why we grab quite a few bits of rosaries throughout the game. So if you played this game casually, you might remember that rosaries simply do not exist at all. It turns out there are a couple around, and we do grab them when possible so that we can pay for the bellways to do that fast travel.
And something else worth noting is over the patch history of the game, Team Cherry has over time slowly patched in a few more kindnesses in terms of rosaries, made the econ a little bit better. That's worth noting because if you saw any percent of Silksong at last event, we're actually playing on the latest patch of the game. This is tradition in meme runs because
Exactly. Yeah, so I am playing on the latest patch, and that does introduce a number of differences. If you've seen any percent runs, in particular, I believe the any percent run that was showcased at AGDQ was run on release patch. That is faster for any percent, but for many other categories, it is faster to play on a later patch because a lot of nice things were added in later patches. Unfortunately, a bit of speed tech was also patched out, which is why any percent is done on release patch.
But also my I love when devs patch out speed tech t-shirt is raising a lot of questions that are answered by my t-shirt.
Yeah, so optimally we would actually play on a bit of an intermediate patch here for awoo percent, but I will instead be running latest patch because I will always be running latest patch and simply deal with the problems that introduces.
And so here we're at another arena, which there's obviously a bunch of these in the game, and most of the early ones especially are scripted. Sometimes flying enemies and enemy spawns can be a bit strange, but Math is taking care of this one real smoothly.
Yeah, I'm using a little bit of...
We have just met the incentive
Holy
already.
flea.
11 minutes into this speed run. Sensational work, Twitch chat. Thank you so much.
I knew you had it in you. I knew there were flea enjoyers among us.
All right, as a reward for meeting that incentive so quickly, we are going to prepare for our very first awoo here. We're picking up the dash ability, and as soon as we do, we're on our way to save our very first flea. And I want to introduce the concept of getting the timing right for these awoos here to everyone that is here in the audience. And to facilitate that, Nicole will be holding up a sign that says, "Get ready," and when we save the flea, so keep an eye on that sign. I will try to also call out the fleas, but we do want to hear those awoos nice and loud from everybody here in Minneapolis.
And it is worth noting as we head towards the lace fight, for a very long time, Math was the world record holder of awoo while intentionally losing time on every single flea to hear their awoo before leaving the screen. This man is built different.
It is very important to hear the awoos. Doing awoo percent without hearing the awoos just feels sacrilegious to me. There it is. Thank you, thank you. All right, and now we are going to head over to our next major boss, which is Lace. And we will be seeing more of Lace later as well. But she is a pretty major story element here in this game. Sort of playing the role that Hornet played in the first game a little bit. And there's quite a bit of tech that we'll be using throughout the run here in combat. But the thing to know with Lace is I really would like to stagger her when she's on the edge of the arena so that I can push her into the lava. But she doesn't want to play kindly here, so that's okay. If we push her into the lava there, it deals 40 damage compared to the 5 that we deal with our regular needle. But that's okay. So that is the first Lace fight. We will be seeing more of her later, but in the meantime, we are going to be on our way to save another flea. And I think we have time for a quick donation here.
We can do that for you. We got $25 from Roy, buddy, that says, shout out to my homies in the Crochet Club. Looking forward to the Silksong run and seeing all the fleas saved by Hornet and her Adidas.
I did see there was a Hornet in like sneakers prize that was like a perler. I want that so badly.
Oh, that's so good. I guess I also want to mention the new movement tech that we are doing, where we are still pogoing, but... That is our third flea, and we are very much going to be ramping those numbers up. But yes, now that we have dash, instead of doing the neutral pogos that we were doing the first half of the run, or not half of the run, half of the run so far, we are now doing pogo dashes, which once again incorporates that extra speed we get from the diagonal pogo. But also cancels out of that pogo with a dash. That is significantly faster than just sprinting. But once again, luckily, we won't be doing this the entire run because I will be picking up an item a bit later that makes everything a little more smooth.
Yeah, but basically the horizontal movement you get from the diagonal pogo is like the fastest thing in the game without additional help. So any movement tech that lets us use generally the startup of moves. There's another slightly slower movement tech where you just jump dash a bunch of times that I'm glad is no longer in vogue because it was quite a hand shredder.
Yeah, it is a bit of a pain if you run categories that get different crests because only the Hunter crest has this diagonal pogo. So other crests do still do the jump dashing, sadly. All right, so here we head into Hunter's March, and this enemy here I like to call Flam. He's the boy ant. This enemy can be a little bit tricky for sure. Definitely a bit of a challenge when you first start the game.
Yeah, as Math absolutely schools Flam there. Raise your hand in the crowd if you found Flam the boy ant before dash and thought you had to beat him.
Yeah, it is a very common experience and one that led to this lovely section, Hunter's March, being awful. All right, and one thing that we'll be doing pretty frequently in this run is as we save a flea, we are done with whatever we need to do in that area, and we will then immediately return to the menu and then load back in. That does save our progress, and it puts us on our previous bench. So that is very useful for routing, especially because many times the only reason that we're in an area is to save a flea. Now we are coming up on our next flea.
Y'all are syncing up on this. I appreciate you, Minneapolis.
You're finding the rhythm, and I love it. And that is our fifth flea, and that is a very important number because that allows us to talk to the lovely Mushka here and engage in what is probably the best transportation method in any game ever, which is traveling with the caravan of fleas. So we are going to be enjoying those cutscenes in full in this run. So I'll show you exactly what I mean because, of course, they are completely unskippable cutscenes. So you just need to sit back and watch and imagine yourself as Hornet comfortably sitting next to all of these adorable little fleas. And this has the added benefit of taking us directly to Greymoor. So by doing this, we actually displace the boss of the area, which is Moorwing, and we kick them out of the room because it is much more important that the fleas have this location instead. So this is an alternative method to getting to Greymoor, which is sort of the second half of the first part of the game. By saving fleas instead of having to actually go and fight bosses. And I find that clearly the better option.
Yeah, and it spits you out right next to Bellheart, which is sort of where the second half of Act 1 begins, which is just, it's massively convenient for routing anyway. It's just some unfortunate things later on in the any% run that make moving the fleas a little bit not worth it.
Yeah, and importantly, we get actually the flea brew from saving the fleas and getting traveled over there, so
Yes, so that was the Flea Brew tool that we just picked up, and it is going to be a very, very important tool for this run. So the Flea Brew item does several different things. It most saliently makes you run faster, which of course is a benefit in a speedrun. And that is the primary use that we'll be having. It also makes us attack a little bit faster, which is not quite as powerful as the faster movement speed, but still useful. And then very, very crucially, it also acts as an air stall that can gain us a little bit of extra height at times as well. So it's used for a number of skips as well. So Flea Brew is truly the best item in the run.
GG not
Very
getting
nice.
stick bugged.
Yeah, the stick bugs tried to fight a little bit there, but luckily it wasn't too bad. But yeah, now we are heading to our next major movement upgrade, which is Cling Grip. And that is going to be our wall jump ability. And much like in Hollow Knight and many other Metroidvanias, the wall jump ability does open up quite a lot of things for us. So we do rush to it almost as quickly as we can, with a small exception, of course. We do need to save all of the fleas along the way. And you can see the one over there trapped in the vines. So we are going to work our way around to go save that flea.
Just a small disclaimer, you will hear us refer to Cling Grip as Claw at least once during this run. That is because this couch has a combined something like 7,000 hours in Hollow Knight, and our brains are broken. Please understand.
Yes, we'll do our best. You know, wings are technically fade-down cloak, but they're still wings in our heart.
Yeah. So this is another enemy bait. Math once again used the secret taunt button plus the noise of hornets slashing the walls, which works for some reason, to lure this enemy into a spot where we can pogo it to skip going all the way around and fighting a whole boss on the path to Cling Grip.
Yep, so that is the Sister Splinter skip, which has not been patched despite being known since basically day 1 or so. So one of the cases of the developers absolutely leaving in the speed tech, which is quite nice of them.
That skip, about 100 things happened at once, but that like double air stall is incredibly finicky. I'm so glad you got that.
Yeah, that one can be a little bit tricky, but that's showing off the use of Flea Brew as a air stall device, which we will be using quite a lot throughout this run. And this is the Cling Grip ability. So we have wall jump now, and we will immediately put it to use and make our way to the next boss of the run. And this one is probably one of my absolute favorites. It is Widow, who has an absolutely incredible soundtrack and also is just an absolutely lovely fight.
And a voice from heaven.
Yes, absolutely. But we do have another flea to save along the way. There's one in the top of Bellheart. Many of these fleas are trapped. This one is trapped in a series of bells. Oh! And of course, because we waited for that, we need to wait for the big fluffy boy there. Fun fact about Hornet, she loves fluffy things, and these ferns are absolutely no exception. If you read the Hunter's Journal, she absolutely loves these winged ferns, and I can't blame her. They're adorable.
Yeah, this isn't a bit. That's 100% canon.
Yep. All right, so this is Widow, and get ready for the banger of a soundtrack.
So something to note, first, really quickly, right off the bat, Math actually taunted instead of talking to Widow to start the fight, to skip a bunch of dialogue. This is a good time to talk about some of the Silk Spear tech that we can do over the course of the run. Silk Spear is very powerful. It's going to be our main source of damage, but it also takes a very long time to actually cast. So there are a couple of ways we can interrupt the casting time of Silk Spear. Math just pulled off a good one, which is if you use Silk Spear very close to a wall, it will cancel the length of the retract.
Yes, hold your applause because Widow has a fake out. There is a second phase to the fight after she appears to be defeated. And this second phase can be a little bit tricky. I'll sneak a heal in just for safety there. Widow does deal double damage like many bosses in this run. And
Nice.
There's the Widow.
But after this sequence, we're going to have like a couple minutes of plot that we're like, there's another dream sequence. So Kuiper, how are we doing?
I have a lot of awoos. Like a lot. You folks want to do awoo with me a little bit? All right. We got $75 from Anonymous that says, well, we need the sign.
Oh,
Sign.
Okay.
Listen, words are bad for me. Pictures are great. There we go. $25 from Akeem Khalib that says, awoo. $50 from Itzy that says, awoo. $100 from Killin' Me Smala that says, awoo. Another $25 from Anonymous. Awoo. How many more could I do?
Probably like 2 or 3.
All right. $50 from Ixie Rose. Awoo! I already read that one. Another $25 from Anonymous that says, awoo! And $25 from Morgan G that says, awoo! I have so many more, whenever you need more.
You have another minute here. Keep them coming.
Another minute. Oh my goodness. $500 from Brother None. That says, awoo! As well as, thank you, GDQ, for being good humans. Much love. Thank you so much, Brother None, for the $500 donation. I have $25 from Inchiko that says, save all the fleas. Good luck and have fun, Math. Thank you for bringing awoo % to GDQ. People need to hear every single
Thank you.
I know the word awoo like didn't mean anything before, but it's absolutely satiating now. Like it will mean nothing for the next week. I love it.
That's the way that we want this to go, so it's perfect. So yeah, defeating Widow there did give us another major ability, which is the Needle In, and we did use it in the dream sequence there to open a door to a weave nest. Those are scattered throughout the early game as a kind of, preview for what's to come, but we will actually only be using one of them in the run. But the Needle-In is required for story purposes, and it is actually required on latest patch to get into the second act of the game. So we fight Widow for a number of reasons, but the Needle-In is the major one. Fighting Widow also restores Bellheart to its former glory, so when we came through here earlier, the entire place was basically hung with silk threads. Those were being controlled by Widow, and by defeating her, we are able to speak with the shopkeepers here, in particular Pliny here, who will upgrade our needle. So this is quite a significant damage upgrade for us. Needle 0 deals 5 damage, Needle 1 deals 9. We'll be getting one more needle upgrade a bit later in the run as well.
And it is possible to just miss Pliny for basically the entire game because gamers don't look up. Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
I may have beaten GMS Needle 0 casually. It's bad time. We don't want to go back there.
Let this be a lesson to always check your surroundings.
They didn't put yellow paint. All of Bellheart is yellow. What was I to do?
All right, so now we are returning to Farfields, and we are going to be getting another major piece of movement that you won't be seeing in release patch runs. This is going to be the Drifter's Cloak ability, which lets us float. We do need this for saving all of the fleas. There is a flea that absolutely hard requires the double jump ability, and to acquire the double jump on latest patch, we do need Cloak, but it's also just a very useful thing to have. To get Cloak, we do need to go through the Seamstress, who has some just absolutely incredible voice lines. Hello there. And we get a bit of a fetch quest here. So this is going to be a little bit of a grinding segment. She asks us to go and grab 25 spines from the Hokers, which are these enemies. And if you've done the fetch quest throughout the rest of Silksong, by the time you get here, you might think that you need to kill the Hokers to get their spines. But actually what you need to do is have them attack you and then hit the spines out of the ground or the air or wherever they land. But very importantly for us, these hokers can also be angered by playing music. They absolutely hate the needle-in. So by playing the needle-in near them, they try to attack us, they try to get us killed, and we are able to gather all of their spines without having to go and hunt down a whole bunch of them or reload the room.
Everyone's a critic.
Listen, she just picked up the instrument. You know, it takes a little while to learn.
That's true. The first step to being good at something is being bad at something in front of other people.
All right, so that was enough spines, and now I'm going to be heading to the real reason that we picked up the needle-in first, which is the weave nest over here. And inside of this weave nest is a absolutely fantastic tool that we will be using for the rest of the run, which is the Silk Speed Anklets. That is a tool that we can equip that makes us run faster, which surprisingly enough does save time in a speed run.
It's a surprise tool that will help us later. It'll also help us now, but it'll help us later.
Yeah, so we will be equipping Silk Speed Anklets immediately and for the entirety of the rest of the run. From now on, we will basically not be doing the pogo dashes. However, there is a catch to the anklets. When we're running with them, they do very slowly consume silk. And unfortunately, there's no quick ways around that. So we do just have to watch our silk a little bit in certain cases. Occasionally you might be trying to save silk for a heal, and the anklets have other ideas, but that's okay.
No one has ever died like that before in the history of Silksong.
Absolutely never. All right, so that was the Drifter's Cloak ability, and we will be putting it to use immediately. Not particularly for its intended purpose, but instead to do a little bit of a skip. And this is Fourth Chorus skip.
Bye, Fourth Chorus.
Believe it or not, there's a boss over there. Yeah, we're just gonna leave. We're not gonna fight that boss. We'll see Fourth Chorus again in the Hundo run, maybe.
Yeah, that skip's actually been part of the run since like the very beginning of Silksong, but it's so much easier with the Flea Brew for that extra little bit of an air stall.
Yeah, having the Flea Brew there as an air stall, it's not necessary, but it does make the skip basically 100% consistent, which is, of course, something that's nice to have. All right, and now that we have a cloak and we're past Fourth Chorus, we need to go do a little bit of cleanup of getting what we need to enter the second act of the game. And of course, while we're at it, we're going to be saving all of the fleas that are nearby. So we're heading up to Greymoor, where we're going to be getting the Greymoor Bell, and then also saving a flea that's in the area. And unfortunately for me, both of those things involve skips that require me to pogo on craws. So craws are absolutely horrendous enemies. They are very, very inconsistent and the stuff of nightmares, really. But we'll be seeing what the craws have in store for us here. There is a craw pogo here in the first room to get up to the bell, and then there's a more complicated skip in the second room, which we'll be showing in just a minute. So we have these craws, which I messed that up. That was my fault. Okay, we're gonna try that again. Luckily, this can be reset.
And these craws are the worst enemies in the game. And I say that as a staunch defender of birds. Everyone hates birds in video games, but these ones actually deserve it.
Yeah, the craws are awful, but we'll take a second try. That is quite all right. All right, so that lets us get up here much quicker than both the intended method and the backup. That's also secretly a craw pogo, so there's really just no winning with this one. But now we're going to head to Craw Lake. So normally we might be able to simply leave at this point, but we have a flea to save. So I'm going to be doing a skip here, which involves using multiple air stalls. And those are two
Nice.
Really nice.
So clean.
And of course, we were not quite done, but now we are in the clear, and now we're ready. Oh! And that's all we need to do in Greymoor for now. We will be seeing the rest of the zone later. There are a couple more fleas there, but we're going to wait until we have full movement to go and return. All right, so I need to wake Era up. She doesn't mind.
No bell beasts were harmed.
Yeah, no bell beasts were harmed in the production of this flea saving run. We are going to be returning to, I thought I had wings, I do not. We're going to be returning to Bellharp and we're going to be heading over to Shellwood, or through Shellwood into Blasted Steps. And while we go through this section, we have another quick moment for a donation or two.
I have one here. $1,000 from Sage Griffin. That just says, awoo.
Absolutely incredible support for this run. Thank you so much.
Math is also showing off a bit of speed tech in here in this section using Flea Brew and doing something called a, I'm blanking, apologies. The Flea Brew Dash, Trans Dash?
A Trans Brew.
Trans Brew, thank you.
Trans dash was Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
Because you trans your dash. In this case, you trans your brew, like that.
Exactly.
When you go through a transition, you can cancel some of the animation of Flea Brew with the loading screen of the next thing. It's important in the Hollow Knight community that at least one tech bears the trans moniker because, and I cannot stress this enough, trans rights.
Yeah, so trans brews save about a second, maybe half a second to a second with every use if we do it well. So I will be doing that as often as I can. When we use flea brews for movement, generally speaking, we want to do it inside of a transition because otherwise we have to sit there while Hornet drinks the brew and it takes a little bit of time. And yeah, now we are ready to head into the Blasted Steps, which will be our last stop along the way to Act 2. Blasted Steps has a number of pretty tricky skips, and we're going to be seeing Flea Brew being used again for its air stall potential. Flea Brew is a very, very versatile tool, and we will be getting quite a lot of use out of it throughout the run. So this skip here is the first skip in Blasted Steps. There we go.
Nice.
So we call that one BS1 for the first Blasted Steps skip. And coming up here, we have BS2, which is twice as BS as the first one.
Buddy makes it look easy.
All right, so that was the two major skips in Blasted Steps, and now we make our way to the last judge. This fight is one that many, many casual players might remember as maybe their first wall, maybe one of many walls, but very frequently a wall of some sort. The last judge is definitely tricky. And the reason that she's the most tricky in this run and in speedruns generally is that she has an absolutely devastating, never-before-countered attack, which is called moving slightly forward. So if she does that, I will probably get hit, and of course, as with many bosses in Silksong, it will be for double damage. So I'm going to be watching out for that deadly, deadly attack here.
My question remains, why does she light the sensor and then unlight it for phase one of the fight? It's just basic strategy.
Just had to check that it was working. Okay, just got out of there.
Also, another certified Christopher Larkin banger for this theme.
Yeah, the soundtrack to this game is absolutely incredible. Regardless of what you think about this game, listen to the soundtrack. It's quite amazing. But yeah, Judge has a number of attacks, including, now that we're in the second phase, these fire-based attacks. Most attacks come with fire now. We're getting very awkward staggers. Okay, this is fine. And she has this big phase transition where she basically just tells us to get away. We can't stay inside of that attack. It does kill us.
Nice. Unfortunate right side finish there. Raise your hand if this explosion killed you.
Yeah, so if you died of this explosion, first of all, if you're inside that explosion, it will just repeatedly hit you until you die, even if you're at full health. Second of all, if you died of that explosion, you have to do the entire boss fight again.
And that run back is seared into my memory. With that, we've officially entered Act 2. We're gonna be in Act 2 for the rest of the run. But Math is just gonna be moving through Act 2, so until we get a little bit closer to our upcoming boss, Kuiper, how are the awoos doing?
There are an endless amount of awoos, but I do have a couple here that are not just awoos that I would love to read for you all. We have $25 from Materius17 that says, this block is so stacked with some of my favorite games, from Thousand Year Door, Monster Hunter Wilds, and the GOAT, Silksong. Let's go GDQ. And I do want to remind everyone, just talked about Monster Hunter Wilds. You should be seeing it coming across your screen right now. We have that Pick My Weapon incentive open for Y'all Bagel's Run, where you all at home are going to get to choose what weapon Y'all Bagel is using for the quests in the game. And I've been told that if we get through all of those weapons, Y'all Bagel might have a special surprise for all of you. So you want to try to see every single one of those weapons. Right now, Insect Glaive has a pretty big lead over the Hunting Horn of about $150. But just a little bit ago, the Insect Glaive does have the lead, but a little bit ago, Hunting Horn did have that lead. So it's been going back and forth. So get your donations in for that bid war.
Yeah, I support Insect Glaive in the lead because obviously bug game, but we do want to keep that close. Y'all Bagel is an absolutely ludicrous speedrunner, so whatever he's got planned, I want to see that. So tie it up, gamers. Also, Lace was here. We'll worry about her later.
Yeah, that's our second encounter with Lace. We will be seeing more of her much later in the run, but for now we can just know that she spawned in all of the enemies in the Citadel, which is good, you know, just to keep things a little bit fresh here for us, you know, don't want things to be too easy in this game, obviously.
Famously easy game, Hollow Knight Silksong.
Famously easy. But yeah, now we're just gonna be moving through the Citadel. Okay, perfect. That's a little bit RNG. Those enemies can just spawn in faster or slower, but we can just run past them if we're lucky. We need to go over to the slab to just open up a bellway for later. So we have a little bit of movement here. If you played this game casually, you may or may not have experienced the slab in a very, very different fashion, but it turns out that you can actually just enter the slab from the outside, from the Citadel. The other option is for Hornet to actually get captured, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, try to do that because it's a very lovely experience. But in this run, we simply stop on by. We will be returning to the slab much later for the Fleas, of course. And in the meantime, we are just unlocking this bellway so that we can return for wings later.
Yeah, and I do want to shout out because much like its predecessor, Hollow Knight, Silksong has an incredibly active category extension, or meme run if you're cool, board. And one of the categories on that board is just slab %. It is just reach the slab as fast as possible. And it's got a couple of different routes for how you can get there and under what circumstances. It's very cool. All of the meme runs are great. Shout out in particular Dapper Slapper, where you just slap the slappable NPCs in the game.
Yeah, Dapper Slapper is a classic one. And yeah, shout outs to the Silksong meme speedrunning community. It is a vibrant community. And of course, awoo %, of course, was a lock from the start to become a category. These Fleas are simply too cute. But people have come up with all sorts of increasingly ridiculous speedruns, and I'm sure they will continue to do so for many years to come.
Yeah, if you count off leaderboard categories that exist like in a spreadsheet that are someone's pet project, I think base Hollow Knight got up to like over 100 with like at least 2 people running them. It's just the potential for these games to do what you want in them with all the expressive movement they have is just beyond anything else I've seen in gaming.
All right, so those are the 2 Fleas that we have before the next boss, which is the Cogwork Dancers. Now, we're gonna have quite a while before we have our next Flea, but this is a very action-packed part of the run. So the Cogwork Dancers are up first. And we're going to be opening this fight with a Scream Skip. So I'm going to be standing directly underneath where the right Cogwork Dancer is going to spawn. And by doing this, we will get damaged for, of course, double damage at the very start of the fight. But we'll be able to attack during the scream, which enables us to kill the dancer much more quickly.
Easy.
Now, that is not the end of the fight because this is a fight with 4 phases. And here I'm going to be using the Flea Brew for its combat purpose, which allows us to attack faster. We're also going to be using a lot of Silk Spears. And you'll notice I'm actually focusing just on a single one of these dancers. They do not share a health pool. They have independent health pools. So the best option is to focus one down as quickly as possible. There are some nuances about which one you want to focus in each phase. But generally speaking, you just want to make sure that whichever one you're fighting, you're focusing on that one primarily.
I love how no one clapped. Everyone knows the gimmick of this fight now. Thank you all for playing Silksong. That rules. Also, sorry about the sad robots.
Yeah, this final phase is very, very tragic, of course. Really a tearjerker when I first played this game, and I imagine I am not alone in that. But that is the end of the dance phase. All right, and I will be doing a quick save and quit here. Once the dancers are dead, it does set our save point to be right on top of the dancers. This is one of the hard saves in the game. And by quitting out, we can skip a pretty long animation of this elevator appearing. And we have a moment here where we could sneak in a quick donation.
Absolutely. I have $25 from Zonk that says, Math, it is so cool to see you on the big stage with a Silksong meme run even. It's so wonderful to know you and everyone on the couch. Wish I could have been there in person, but this will have to do. Awoo! Got time for another one?
Yeah.
I have $250 from Brother Murai that says, Brother Murai here. Hollow Knight Silksong is my second favorite Hollow Knight game of all time and my third favorite game behind Sonic X Ninja Gaiden PC mod. Looking forward to this awoo% run and seeing my favorite character of all time, Shakira.
Close, close. All right, so we're doing the Cogwork Core here. I did not mean to pause, that's fine. Cogwork Core is a very, very cycle-based area, and one that was a little bit rude to me there. So we're on 1 HP, and we're going directly into an arena. So I opened up a shortcut there for later, and we may be using it to get back here if this arena doesn't go well. But up here we have the Whispering Vaults arena, which is a pretty tricky arena, a little bit technically difficult, but I will...
Lock in, Math.
Yeah, I'll let my comms take this one.
Yeah, so this arena is ideally very scripted, and it's going to introduce us to a lot of the combat fundamentals for some of the horrible arenas in the back half of this game. Of particular note, we got the heal, it's fine. In these arenas, you absolutely want to make sure you can Silk Spear as many enemies at a time as possible, and you want as little lag on the Silk Spear as you can get. So these waves are static, and what Math is trying to do, which is not always easy with flying enemies, is line everyone up as close to a wall as possible to get the end lag cancel using the wall. If not, you can also cancel by turning around or touching the ground out of a Silk Spear. So all of those are ways you can make Hornet attack even faster than the already frenetic combat of this game. And special anti-shoutouts to these bell throwers. They are the worst.
Yeah, the bell throwers are probably the single enemy that becomes the most nightmarish when things are not going according to plan, mostly because their projectiles become a little bit impractical.
Never any doubt.
Yeah, that was definitely not about to die about 5 different times. It's fine. All right, now we're entering the Whispering Vaults, and we're on our way to the next major boss, which is Trobio. And Trobio is easily one of my favorite bosses in the run.
I heard like 2 woos for Trobio. I'm with you.
There we go. That's more like it.
That's more like it. Is anyone in the audience perchance a theater kid?
Theater kids at GDQ?
At GDQ? Well, I never.
It's funny you mentioned that. I happen to have a donation here from Trobio.
Please.
Would you like to know what it says?
Absolutely.
Trobio!
Trobio! All right, we are about to find out the lovely sounds of Turbio firsthand here. Now, Turbio is a little bit rude at times, so the attacks that Turbio does are fairly random, but I'll be doing my best to mitigate that randomness a little bit. Turbio can also go into the floor, which can simply lose you a bunch of time. I did not mean to use cloak there, that's fine. This attack here is the tornado. That deals double damage, like just about everything in this game. We're gonna do our best to not get hit by those. Okay, we are not getting.
Trobio, more like Trobio.
Yeah, more Turbio. So that's how Turbio can go at times. Some of that was my own fault. Some of that was luck of the draw. But luckily, the run back is not too awful to get back to Turbio.
That's 1 point for theater kids this time. No, my toxic trait is I absolutely love that boss fight. Hiding in the floor and all, it's Team Cherry at their absolute most Team Cherry. But my opinions don't hold weight. I also think Grey Prince Zote is the best boss in the base game. And if you disagree, gdq.gg/donate, baby!
That's simply the correct take, though.
Thank you!
GPZ is absolutely the best boss in Hollow Knight, I'm sorry. I need to stop dashing into that tornado, I think. But yeah, there's a couple of things that we're going to be doing. Mostly we are trying to get Silk Spears in when possible, get not hit by all of those kinds of attacks when possible, and try to punish some of Turbio's antics as well as we can, which sometimes goes well and sometimes goes absolutely not well. Mostly these balls are very random.
Never any doubt.
Absolutely the safest heal you've ever seen in your life.
Calculated.
But yeah, we're gonna again be using the various Silk Spear tech that we talked about a little bit earlier, which are landing spears, which are spears against a wall, which cancels the Silk Spear animation. We're going to be doing our best to get in as many spears as we can, while also, of course, mitigating our health as best as we can.
And of course, Math is also showing off that you can indeed hit the balls that Turbio throws at you.
The theater kid community has forgiven Cthulhu.
Yeah, he didn't make it easy, but it's okay. Turbio. And now I want to just show a little bit of the drama of Turbio. You think he's dead? He's just faking it.
Diva.
This was one of the only things I saw of this game, and I love that. That is so good.
Team Cherry is unmatched at these like little detail touches on the game. Like this is what 7 years in the woods with no Jira does to someone.
Yeah, I absolutely love that boss fight, even with the pain that it introduces in the speedrun, but it's simply too good to hate. But with those bosses down and a little bit of scary time in the Cogwork core, we are finally back on track to start saving some more fleas. So up first we have a flea that is very appropriately named the Exploding Flea.
Good recovery. Good. We Math in practice in like 3 consecutive practice runs blew up there 3 times, so we were all ready to make fun of him.
Yeah,
This is adjustments.
it's fine. I'm learning. But yeah, now we are heading to our next major ability, which is Clawline. And Clawline is going to be used quite a lot. It is a new ability to Silksong in the Hollow Knight universe, so there is no real analog in Hollow Knight. But basically what it allows us to do is to very quickly move horizontally in the air or on the ground. And it also allows us to activate Clawline gates. And we're going to be introduced to a tutorial of how to use Clawline as soon as we pick it up here. So the game very helpfully refills our health, refills our silk, and says, time to use Clawline the way that we intended, which is, of course, to do that. But this is the first Clawline gate that we will be opening, and there are a few of these that are required to beat the game. But most importantly, this will allow us to get the fade down cloak, the double jump ability.
And this arena is completely scripted except for those 2 flying enemies.
Yep, and those
Thank
enemies
you very much.
can be a pain, but luckily not too bad this time.
There we go.
There we
All
go.
right, there
Absolutely
it
no
is.
problems there.
All right, and now we head to the back into the Whispering Vaults, but through the lower entrance. So this is one of the reasons that we had to fight Trobio. We are going to be heading down here to pick up the Sacred Cylinder, which is one of the things we'll be needing to complete the game. This doesn't help us save any fleas, but it will help us finish the game.
Yes, and it is worth noting, if you look at this category on SRC, awoo% traditionally ends the moment you have acquired the reward for saving all of the fleas. But just for you, think of it as a reward for getting the flea game so gosh darn fast. We are going to additionally go all the way through Grandmaster Silk after saving all the fleas. So this is a little bit of a deviation for any awoo% sickos watching this. We need this to beat the game.
Yes, indeed. And there are a number of route differences between this run and the standard awoo% just because of that additional rolling credits that we'll be doing. But most of them fit in pretty nicely into the course of the run. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is heading up here, because there is a flea to save. So now that we have our Sacred Cylinder, we're back on track to save some fleas. And once again, we're going to be using the air stall ability of the Flea Brew. And then we're going to continue on here because we're going to get a needle upgrade. So over here, there is a pale oil, which is going to be used to get a second needle upgrade when we go back to Bellheart and see Plenty again. There's a lot of combat left in this run, so this saves us a fair bit of time in that combat. But our next major objective now is to pick up the, I almost said Monarch Wings, to pick up the Fay Down Cloak.
7,000 hours.
Which means we need to return to the slab, which borders Mount Fay. And while we head over there, we have a quick moment for a donation.
Absolutely. We have another $250 donation from St. Aries. That says Silksong. This goes out to all the support staff and event planners. What a massive effort this is, and an amazingly positive community. Thank you again, St. Aries, for the $250 donation. I have another $250 donation. The support has been incredible. Thank you all so very much. From Vaughn Rothdave. Amazing to see Mathulu running my favorite game, saving the cutest little folks. Here's to a great run, and to Silksong and Math's incredible communities. Awoo!
All right, so we're gonna focus up here for a little bit in Mount Fay. This is probably one of the most movement technical areas of the entire run. It is a cold zone, so without access to those little lights, you constantly take environmental damage, and let's go. That is
Nailed
using
it.
Flea Brew to buffer a wall jump on the tiniest available point of geometry, and then just absolutely trusting that your claw lines have the distance. That skips a huge going around section in casual playthrough, and for speedrunners, it skips an intentional death skip that we used to do with a cocoon there. That is the fabled cocoon skip.
Yes, we are very good at naming things. We had Cocoon Skip, and then when we didn't need it anymore, of course, that's Cocoon Skip. So, but yeah, this Mount Fay showcases just another few different ways that Flea Brew is used. So we used it as an air stall at the start, we used it to buffer a wall jump in the middle, and we used it to gain a little bit of height at the end. Flea Brew turns out to just be incredibly versatile and saves us a ton of time throughout the run.
And with that, our reward is the double jump ability. We did it, we're a real Metroidvania. Ignore all the, it's fine. But Math, I do actually have an important question for you. Why do they call it fade down cloak when you fade down the cloak of up jump the cloak? That's been my time, everyone. Thank you.
Remember this when you consider asking Quack to be a commentator. But yes, this is the lovely pigeon. You might think that's a boss fight, but no, the pigeon is very friendly and simply gives us the ability to double jump. So this is the last major piece of movement that we'll be picking up in the run. It is almost all of the movement in the game, but the last piece is unnecessary for saving fleas, so we don't need to get it.
It's such a good bird. This is my favorite bird.
Yeah, very good bird. So yeah, now that we have double jump, we are going to be leaving the mountain, but we do have a flea to save on the way.
No, it's pronounced awoo. I thought we were good at this. Oh no, they're fighting.
All right, so over here, there is a flea that we normally you would encounter on your way through the mountain, but because we did the cocoon skip, we didn't see this half of the mountain at all. But luckily, we can come here with wings. All right, and now we are officially done with Mount Faye, and we will be heading out to start our cleanup of all of the fleas. And this is a good moment for a couple of donations.
Excellent. I have $130 from First Game Hornet. I don't know what voice to say this in, so I'm just going to go with this one. Come no closer, ghost. I've seen you creeping through the undergrowth, stalking me. I know what you are. I know what you try to do. I can't allow... Wait, you're here to donate to GDQ? Okay, my apologies. Go right ahead, friend.
That's canonically Hornet's voice, everyone.
That's Hornet.
That's canonically
okay,
Hornet.
it makes more sense now. All right, you know what?
No, I'm saying that's the new canon.
Okay.
Whenever everyone else voice acting Hornet, that's
what you sound like.
That's the example now.
Hit me up. I'll give you the voice. $250 from Chris that says, "Love to see my boy Math awoo-maxing at GDQ." Thank you for the $250. That one made me laugh when I read it.
I believe that's from my brother, so shout out to him. All right, so we have made it back to Bellheart, and now we're going to be doing something very important, which is getting a refill for our flea brew.
And not moving the caravan.
And not talking to Mushka here.
We did it, everyone. If you accidentally move the caravan too early, it like ruins the run to the tune of like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's all good.
Ask us how we know.
Definitely did not do that in practice earlier. But yes, that is a refill to the flea brew. There is a limited number of flea brews total. So first of all, we get 3 per bench. We need to bench again to refill them. But then we also have a reserve of just 30 total flea brews. So we start with the 3 in the tank plus the 30 in the reserve, so 33 total. And the way that we're using it in this run, we get through that pretty quickly. So we grab a refill there just to have some more. Now, this is technically a flea save, but I'm going to ask you not to awoo, but to aboo. Aboo.
If you played the game, you know why Krat sucks.
Yeah, Krat is awful, and we will not be celebrating him. Anyway, continuing on, we're heading back through Greymoor, and we have another flea to save, which is one of the sleepiest, or the fleepiest of fleas, at the top of the tower here. The fleas are in very interesting positions. Some of them are trapped. Some of them are just vibing. This is definitely one that is simply vibing. But it's a very good flea.
Oh, to be a flea asleep in a shed in the rain. That right there was actually the hard lock for Fade Down Cloak in this game. I almost said wings, I caught myself. If you do not have Fade Down Cloak, there's just an invisible wall there that stops you from like skipping up with any other height technique. I don't know.
Yeah, so that absolutely requires that we pick up the double jump, but it's useful anyway, so we don't complain too much. All right, I'm gonna be going for a cycle here. There we go. Oh, I missed this, but let's see if we can get the second half of it. This is a very tight cycle, both in the start of the room and also the end. And once you miss one part of it, it gets a little bit tricky, but yeah, this is one of the best room style. And of course, it leads to a flea, the best possible reward. All right, so that concludes the Wisp Thicket portion, and now we are back in the Citadel, where we're going to be embarking on what is one of the more dangerous portions of the run. So there's a couple of branches that we're going to be taking, one which is going to lead to the putrefied ducts, and the other which is going to lead to bile water. Now, if you know what either of those places is, I am so sorry, but there are fleas there, I'm afraid, so we do have to visit. So to get up there, we are going to be going through Whispering Vaults once more, and while we're here, we're going to be taking a brief detour to go and pick up the Vault Keeper's Melody, one of the 3 major pieces of story that we need to do before we can fight the final boss. So we picked up the Sacred Cylinder earlier. Now, very conveniently in this run, that gives us 320 rosaries. In any percent, that doesn't end up being useful at all because you don't need money at this point, but in awoo percent, we still have quite a few things to buy. So this very conveniently takes care of our rosary needs for the rest of the run.
Yeah, and while we go through this story cutscene, Kuiper, tell me about the awoos.
Oh boy. All right, where do we begin? We have $100 from Katie that says, give me those flea games, awoo! Another $25 from Anonymous that says, awoo! $50 from Starfruit Dust that begins with a question. So we will say, awoo? Awoo? Awoo! All right, what else? We have $25 from Cabbage Core. And I cannot stress this enough. Woo!
Thank you, Cabbage.
And $25 from Moss Gone that says, awoo! Would you like more?
Let's do a couple more.
$500 from Anonymous that says, awoo! I told you the support was coming in just at an incredible pace. Another $500 from Blue Cheetah. And it also says, awoo!
Y'all are so endlessly wonderful, and it all goes to support such a truly incredible cause.
Yes, the support is amazing. We all love the fleas, and all right, so we are now at the top of the Citadel again. So we need to head into the Memoriam and then into the Putrefied Ducts. And we're going to be keeping the bench that we took near the Vault Keeper for this entire segment. So I do have to be relatively careful not to die here, or it is a fair bit of a run back. Also, one thing that we didn't talk about that I guess we've been doing a little bit of is just passing through those enemies. You can actually pogo and then dash immediately, and you get a couple of iframes from the pogo. So if you're using the Hunter pogo, which goes diagonally like that, you can actually just pass through enemies entirely. Only if they are thin enough, though. There are some enemies that you will absolutely get hit trying to do that.
And despite being huge, those hallway enemies are actually pretty thin in terms of hitbox.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so here we're in the Memoriam, and we're heading to what is probably one of the best fleas of the run. And this is one that is a little bit angry when we first encounter them, but when you see how they're being caged, you will understand. So we're just going to try our best to placate the good giant flea up here.
And save your awoo for the end.
Yes. So we get a preview of the awoo there, but at the moment, Big Flea is a little bit angry.
All right, a deep one.
All right, So that's the giant flea, just as friendly as all the rest once we are done with the fight. So.
Y'all are the best. Can I just say that?
All right, so with that done, we are now heading to my second least favorite area, which is the putrefied ducts. And once I get there, you will understand why it's among my least favorite, but it'll take until I get to bile water for you to understand why it's not my least favorite. There is a secret ceiling here in the Memoriam. There is a quest that kind of hints at this secret ceiling for you to find the ducts, but of course we don't need those hints. We simply will be going there. This area is definitely one of the more dangerous areas. Like many areas in this run, and in this game generally, enemies deal double damage here. Those big enemies here are the bane of my existence at times, and definitely very dangerous.
Yeah, they're like wake-up hitbox will just clip the very edge of Hornet, and you will have a bad time.
Yeah, it is very rough to get the right sense of exactly when to pogo over them. So, for example, you saw
showcase.
there. Yep.
I was gonna say, it looks like Math is jumping early on most of these, but no, he is exactly on time.
Yeah, so they can be a little bit rough. And here we're going to be visiting a location that we'll be seeing later. So all we need to do is peek our eyes on this location. Hornet will be telling the Fleas about this lovely, calm location. As you can see, easily one of the calmest and best locations for Fleas. Please ignore all of the sights, sounds, and feelings that you're experiencing. But the Fleas will find solace here, despite everything. But we do need to save all of them first.
You got hit there.
It's okay, we broke out. I'm sure it won't happen again.
Oh.
All right, well, maybe we can break out of this one too. All right. It must just be clear save.
Like, check your controller, dude.
Yeah, so this is...
You almost actually got eaten there. I was like, hold on.
I need to keep the suspense. So this is a fun little platforming gauntlet that uses those enemies. You can break out of their grasp by simply slashing or pressing other buttons enough times.
And that was Vogue, who is a required flea for awoo%, but obviously does not awoo. But I would love to request some 07s in the chat for Vogue. She is a real one, and we love her.
Yes, we love Vogue, even if she doesn't awoo. So I'm going to be taking the slightly safer route here to the apostate key. This will be used to break a flea out of jail. It is the best item in the worst place. All right, and now we're going to be loading back in and retracing our steps a little bit, but taking a detour to bile water. So while we do that, we've got time for a donation or two.
I actually have an update for all of you, and I wanted to make sure that Tech wasn't playing a joke on me with the name of this. We have opened an incentive. It is already 23% of the way there, because you all are so phenomenal. It's called Pet the Poogie, and I don't know what a Poogie is, but I've been told it's cute, so we should probably pet it. We're gonna need $7,500 for that incentive coming up for the Monster Hunter Wilds run, which also would get us far beyond our next huge milestone of $400,000. We are, and it is going up as we speak. It is about $1,400 away. I think we can get there during this run.
Oh, that's free and easy. If you've ever been infested with maggots in bile water, chip in $10 right now. It's the bile water tax. Come on,
Quack.
400K.
Quack, I'm gonna be real honest. I can't relate.
Don't tell them.
Okay.
I haven't either.
All right, okay, fine.
Absolutely insane that Quack has managed to go this long without dealing with bile water. It's simply...
I don't play the part of the video game that's out to kill me.
Yeah, so this place is one of the worst. It includes a mechanic, which is the maggot water, which makes it impossible to heal and also slowly saps your mana, your silk.
But fortunately, we're leaving bile water. Unfortunately, it is for the mist.
Yes.
So this is the mist. While math focuses for a second, this is the area that gives Silksong speedrunners their PhDs. Basically, it is a random maze. There are 8 different potential room layouts, and you need to use the needle in order to bait these butterflies to move towards the correct exit. There's 3 rooms you need to pass through, then a checkpoint, then 2 more, and then you're out of the mist. We can cheese it a little bit since we entered the mist from the right, our very final exit is going to be to the left, and I honestly thought I would have had a lot more time to explain this. We're flying through it, just a couple rooms left already. Worth noting that these enemies, in addition to, of course, doing double damage, also drain Math's silk. This area is just miserable, and this does not even begin to scratch the surface of the dissertation that people have written in the community. It's different on different patches, it's different if you look at it funny, it's different on Wednesdays, like, this area is seriously the most.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest sources of RNG in the run. I am playing on latest patch, which does make things a little bit even more RNG, unfortunately, but that was a pretty clean
That was
mist.
absurdly clean.
All right, now, we are going to be heading through the exhaust organ here, but we will not be fighting the boss in this area, who is Phantom, which is a bit of a shame. Phantom is an absolutely incredible boss fight, but we're not here for Phantom, we are here for Fleas. So instead, we are simply going to be dipping outside of the exhaust organ and saving a flea.
I just want to say we did just get a $10 donation from Anonymous that says, I'm just paying my maggot infectation tax.
Good.
Maggot infection. Words are hard.
Thank you, and also I'm so sorry.
Less than, just about $200 away. Less than $100 away from $400,000.
Ooh, can we do it before I die in bile water?
Oh.
You can't distract me like this while I'm running through this zone. We can do it. Come on.
Oh, surely. Before the next wave.
Let's go.
$400,000 for MSF. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. That does not free you of the burden of the maggot infestation tax.
Turns out we have $10 from Din Wiesel that says BioWater maggot tax.
Yeah, this zone is definitely infamous for its enemies, for its maggot water, for its roll, which we luckily will not be facing. But there is a flea trapped here, and of course, we will leave no flea behind. So despite all of the perils, we will be making our way over to the trapped flea at the top of BioWater. Luckily, I have a lot of practice with this segment from needing to run back to Groll. So that is it for the upper BioWater, but we still have another flea in lower BioWater because Team Cherry put not 1, not 2, but 3 different fleas inside of this absolutely awful zone. Between the concentration of fleas and the beauty of the soundtrack, I would have thought that this would be one of my favorite zones, but life does find a way.
But unfortunately, BioWater.
There are so many $10 donations for the BioWater tax coming in. Anytime you want some, I can give you some.
Yeah, this is a good time for a couple. Let's hear them.
We have $10 from Sky that says, BioWater tax. Another 10 from Kayla Treya, BioWater maggot tax. Another 10 from CSGJ that says, BioWater tax, those maggots stink. Awoo! It was an early awoo. I know you have to sign up.
If you got like 1 or 2 more.
$10 from Nanners in Pajamas that says, paying my share of taxes for a much-needed BioWater septic treatment. Awoo!
Incredible.
And $10 from Time Splitter that says, paying the BioWater toll. Awoo!
Awoo! Yes, thank you everyone for attending this meeting of the BioWater support group. what an area of all time.
Yeah, and luckily that will be the last of bile water that we will see during this run. So, not the last of putrefied ducts.
Yeah, good. Cheers for that. 100%.
So thank you, Era. Let's get out of here.
I have one more if you have time.
Yes.
$1,500.
Wow.
Someone chain died to Grohl.
From Crimson Mana that says, here's to suffering with LB.
Oh, man. All right, we do have another flea. And we have one more in the slab. So we need to use that key that we picked up earlier, the key of the apostate, to go and save the flea who must be an apostate. We call this flea the innocent flea because obviously they've done nothing wrong, but as you will see, they are being held unjustly, and we are going to do everything we can to remedy that. So yeah, we have about 5 more fleas to save, I believe. So we're getting near the end of the fleas.
That's no apostate.
Unjustly jailed for sure. But now we head back to the far fields for the 3rd time in this run. And we're going to be doing an arena, which is definitely one of the scariest arenas. It involves a lot of explosions and not a lot of visibility. So we're going to be doing our best to survive there. Luckily, with the extra needle upgrade, it does get a little bit easier, but still far from easy. The reason we couldn't do it earlier is because we did need claw line to open this gate. But there is a flea down there, which of course we need to save. Considering how closely this flea is guarded, you might think that they're in quite a bit of peril, but when we see the flea, we'll make that judgment ourselves.
So as math locks in for this arena, something that has not really come up because we've just been running around every which way, is that for deep docks, which is...
So
wow.
That's
Explosion
how that
arena, everyone.
Can go. It's okay. The run back is luckily pretty fast.
While we get back there, Kuiper, hit us with a couple more donations.
Of course, $25 from the QWERTY Pie that says, congratulations on the main stage. Good luck on the most important category. Technically, awoo% was the first Silksong run for GDQ. This is also my way of shouting out all of the hotfix shows. There's a show for pretty much everything, and it's always nice to relax with crowd. Give us your best awoo. Thank you.
That is no lie. There was a hotfix special called The Journey to Silksong very shortly after the release of the game, and technically, the first speedrun ever featured on this Twitch channel was awoo%.
This is true.
All right, much cleaner start this time. Deep Docks enemies all have like bells on their heads. Nicely done. So they are armored, which is incredibly infuriating if you're used to Hollow Knight pogoing everything.
Yeah, basically every enemy in that arena can't be pogoed. And as you might have seen, that flea was simply sitting there sleeping. I almost said fleeping, which I suppose is more accurate. All right, we've got one more flea to save in far fields before we then are going to finally start moving the flea caravan again. So we didn't really talk about the flea caravan mechanics, but the flea caravan has several possible locations when they start. They're in the Marrow. Where they move in the second location is to the Morwing Arena in Greymoor. The third location is actually in the Blasted Steps in the Last Judge Arena. And unfortunately for us, the Last Judge cannot be displaced as easily as Morwing. So we did need to kill Last Judge before the fleas could move there. But we will now be taking advantage of that flea caravan to return to the Blasted Steps and go and save our final 2 fleas before wrapping up all of the end game requirements for credits. So while we're on our way there, we have time for a couple of donations.
We have $100 from Serenities611 that says, awoo! Awoo! Amazing, amazing job, Math. And special shout out to Nicole for the S tier supporting sign. Can we get a round of applause for Nicole?
Thank you, thank you.
I wouldn't know when to awoo if you didn't hold the sign up. Again, words are hard.
Yeah, and as we can see here with the second caravan travel, the caravan has gotten a bit more full. You can see the giant flea in the background there. Hornet has excellent company. The cutscene remains, of course, unskippable.
100% unskippable.
100% unskippable. There is no way to skip that. And we are going to take this bench here, but you can see that there's a flea currently sitting on it.
We got the RNG, let's go.
So,
Time loss.
We're going to just get that flea to stand up for us. The fleas do sing along to the music, which I will be showing just a little bit at the Fleetopia location, but before we get there, we do need to save the final 2 fleas. So we're heading into the sands of Karok. Before we get there, there is a boss in our way. This is the Great Conch Flies, and I'm going to be trying to do a scream skip here. There we go. So once again, we take, of course, double damage for contact damage. I am going to take the heal there just to stay safe against things like that. And unlike the dancers, the conch flies do not share a health pool. No, okay. The game wants me to stay at 3 health. Maybe I'll oblige. But yeah, so they do not share a health pool, so they do share a health pool, so we are able to attack whichever one we want. And if we can hit both, that's even better.
Nice.
And this here isn't quite an awoo, but it's close.
It's something.
Honorary woo.
All right, so,
Go ahead.
so now we're going to head into the sands of Karok. This area can be a bit tricky. Oh, I don't have silk for that, that's fine. But this is where we really need claw line once again. So this game does require... Oh, the wind picked up, unfortunately. We didn't talk much about the wind mechanic. The wind causes you to move significantly faster when you're in the float animation using the Drifter's Cloak. Okay. And it can absolutely throw off some cycles. But here we are in the sands of Karok. There is a timed platform mechanic in this area, which we will be very lightly engaging with. We're going to do our best to skip as much of this as we can, but some of this area can be a little bit tricky. Oop, I didn't have silk for the final bit there. That's okay. Some of this can be a little bit tricky. The platforms, as you can see, are kind of like auto-scrollers. They do take a little bit of time. And that there is an enemy that I was going to try to pogo to skip this final auto-scroller, but unfortunately, if we aren't able to do the claw lines at the start, we have to go up here instead.
Karok's got it out for you.
Yeah, and of course, the horns to those conch flies deal double damage, which should not be surprising. So does this, by the way. If I got hit by that, it would be double damage. Oh! All right, that is our second to last flea, and I'm going to try one more skip here.
Let's go.
Nice.
And this is the last flea.
Thank you for all of the awoos. That is all 30 fleas. So now we're going to take the flea caravan one final time to the Putrefied Ducks, which has now been reclaimed as Fleetopia. And of course, once again, we get a beautiful cutscene with an even more full caravan that you'll be able to see. Once again, completely unskippable. That text at the bottom, it says, this cutscene cannot be skipped.
No one fact-checked that.
and we make our way to Fleetopia. We do need to talk to the Caravan Master Mushka here to pick up our reward for saving all of the fleas, which is the Egg of Flelia. And there it is. So that would be the end of the awoo% run normally. But as a special treat for SGDQ, we are going to also be rolling credits, which means we are not done.
A speedrun that has not been seen before and will not be seen again.
Side quest to beat the game, you know?
Yeah. So we've saved all the fleas, and now we are going to go and get what we need to go fight Grandmother Silk and finish the game.
In case you were not yet convinced of the absurd amount of skill that Math has, please ignore Putrefied Ducks. It's just doing Putrefied Ducks things. We do still have in front of us the absolutely infamous High Halls Gauntlet, as well as, of course, the Second Lace and Grandmother Silk fights. So now we just get a nice, like, combat showcase and technically a puzzle.
Yes, it would be a puzzle if the solution were not so static, but that's okay. Yeah, so we're going to be retracing our steps a little bit. By traveling with the caravan, the game does actually hard save us, so unfortunately we do need to leave the Putrefied Ducts, and the best way to get to where we need to go from there is to simply run back. So as you can see, we've re-entered the Citadel. We are going to be dropping down and collecting the last 2 bits of the threefold melody. We're at 1 of 3 now, and we're about to go and get the second. So the Architect's Melody is next, which is a bit of a platforming challenge. And we're again going to be using Flea Brew for the purpose of additional height if we can. So at the very start of the room, we can do a skip using 2 Flea Brews. It's a little bit tricky at times, so we'll see if we hit it, but it does skip a fair bit of the room. So right here, we use 2 Flea Brews at the right time.
And then we don't fall off.
And then we don't fall off, and it does allow us to head up here. So this is Upper Cogwork Core. It's definitely a tricky area for platforming. But all of these cogs are pogoable, which does open up some fun cycles for us.
Yeah, to be clear, it's a tricky area for platforming normally without any speed tech. This is nothing short of absurd. That was so clean.
And this here is the aforementioned puzzle. If I can remember my solution here, which is about a 50-50, that should have solved it. We'll see if I got all of them, or if... Nope, we got them all.
Nice.
Okay, perfect. So the point of that puzzle is usually to line up the lines on the music that's displayed on those cylinders, but it is exactly the same every time.
Yep, and this is a very long, very cinematic cutscene, but I wanted to check in on that Monster Hunter bid war. What's that looking like right now?
The bid war has taken a dramatic turn. I believe the last time I checked in, Insect Glaive had about a $150 lead. Yeah, so Light Bowgun is now in the lead, and it's in the lead by almost $500.
Oh, come on, Bug Game enjoyers. We can't have that.
And again, I want to remind everyone that that's not just the weapon that Jawbagel is going to use the entire run. You are going to be able to choose what weapon Jawbagel uses every 2 quests. So if you're thinking, Light Bowgun's got too big of a lead, if all of a sudden you want to donate towards Gun Lance and get that ahead, well, then they got to switch to the Gun Lance. And as I mentioned, if we get through all 12 of those weapon options, there might be a little thing that Jawbagel has planned. There might be a donation or something like that. Who knows? But yeah, that bid war is flying. You guys are doing incredible work there. Thank you so much.
Total sidebar, I cannot believe you went for the pogo iframes through all those on 2 health.
Look,
you absolute madman.
2 damage enemies are built for 2 health. That's all I have to say about that. But yeah, now we're entering High Halls, which is where the 3rd and final piece of the threefold melody is. That is it's guarded by the High Halls Gauntlet, which is going to be a pretty difficult arena that we'll be doing. But before we can get there, we do have a bit of platforming. That is being a little bit rude to me. That's okay. A little bit of platforming to get there, including this room here. So I'm going to be going for a trick here that's rather precise. We'll see if we can get it.
Nice.
First try.
Okay, this, mess up this, it's fine. But yeah, that is a very precise trick. It is, I think, not quite pixel perfect, but just about pixel perfect. There's a easy setup and a hard setup for it. That was the hard setup, but we did get it, so I'm quite happy about that. Hornet is just the right size to sneak through those spikes.
And this is her, the infamous High Halls Gauntlet. We're gonna call for some serious time here in the back half, but basically, this is absolutely everything about this game's combat in one double-wide arena. And I do both mean that in terms of the arena width and the fact that everyone thinks it's over at the halfway point and then gets absolutely obliterated. Of note, the spider enemies are ones that will drain your silk if you leave them alive long enough, which was not that bad a thing in the mist because we were just passing through, but in a long combat arena can be absolutely devastating. And yeah, this is High Halls. We're gonna lock in for a little bit here.
Yeah, so High Halls has just a whole slew of very, very difficult enemies and what feels like the final boss of the arena here. This is not the final boss of the arena. This is the halfway point of the arena. And the second half of the arena is even harder than the first. But yeah, we're using just sort of all of the various combat tech that we've been talking about. We're using dash cancels, occasionally landing spears. Very conveniently, a single spear does kill the bell throwers, which is the main benefit of having Needle 2, in my opinion. And we also have the Egg of Fleas equipped. That's a bit unusual because the typical run that doesn't save all the fleas doesn't have access to the Egg of Fleas.
Would you believe that saving 30 fleas is a little bit slow for any percent?
What that tool does is it allows us to cast Silk Spear with only 3 silk instead of 4, but only if we maintain max health. So I do need to be a little bit careful, but it's a nice bonus if things are going well.
And everyone who has played this game and has been walled here for hours and hours, if not days, can see how impressive it is that Math just did that so cleanly.
Unbelievable. We have a bunch of story here. We're going to get this piece of our MacGuffin, then we're going to take a very long elevator to Lace. So this is probably a really good chunk of time, but the last opportunity for donations in this run. So Kuiper, you can just keep them coming until we're up the elevator.
Excellent. We have $100 from Lumivarium that says, "Awoo and good luck to Math. Lovely to see all the fleas being saved and the representation for meme runs. You and your community, less than 3. I hope Dodge doesn't do dodgy things."
Yeah, Flea Dodge is a bit of my nemesis, but it's okay. We'll see how that goes.
$5 from Licario that says, "Shout out to the obvious best boss, Scar Singer Carmelita. I will only accept arguments and donations."
Good taste.
Very good boss.
$100 from Mather Peasant that says, "Awoo-some narration, Mathulu."
That is my mother. Shout out to my mom.
Yo, shout out. $100 from Thrillium Shakespeare. "Roses are red, violets are blue, fleas are adorable, and so are awoo."
You still got time. We're just chilling.
$50 from Carboz that says, "What's your favorite crest in Silksong?" Couch, runner, favorite crest?
Gotta be Hunter. Just like rewrote the rules of speedrunning from day one.
Hunter is very strong. So in my casual playthrough, I would say Wanderer. As I've done more speedruns, I think the Hunter crest wins out.
Hunter for me too.
And I do have a $2,500 donation from Van Gamer. Hey everybody, Fan Gamer here. We want to remind you about our SGDQ 2026 merch collection, where 100% of the profits get turned into donations like this one that directly support MSF. We've got shirts, badges, pins, and more available at fangamer.com/GDQ.
Awesome. So Lace 2 is the fight of this game. It is all of the beauty of like Souls-like e-combat, where you can feel yourself learning every time you get the floor absolutely wiped.
Yeah, Lace 2 ends up being a very, very good fight in most runs that do go through, especially in any percent where you have very little equipment, or low percent where you have even less. It is very good. Oh, that is a rude
parry. I knew I was going to be in love with this boss fight from the moment I first got hit with the teleports behind you nothing personnel kid. Like, absolute incredible work by Team Cherry.
Yeah, so that is the penultimate boss, generally considered a bit harder than the final boss, honestly, but Grandmother Silk still has a couple of tricks up her sleeve, in particular a triple damage attack, because the double damage attacks simply aren't enough. And of course, the standard attacks from Grandmother Silk do deal double damage, so we need to be very careful that we don't get comboed from one into the other, because at 5 health, that's enough to kill. But we have one last moment here where we're getting the Silk Heart for a last quick donation.
$500 from Anonymous. Woo! That says, go, I think it's map you two? Go map you two, I believe. Hurry up, you've got madness algorithms to find when you're done.
Thank you. All right, so we have the second Silk Heart. I guess we didn't talk about what these do, but they give you one extra bit of silk if you run out. We don't need that at this point. We are basically done with the run, but we have one very important thing to do.
The scuttle!
Which is scuttle up those walls. So when you have Flea Brew, you actually can do these wall dashes. Well, you can do the wall dashes anyway, but the Flea Brew very seriously increases their speed, and it makes it quite a bit faster than simply running up a wall would be. Hold on. The Flea Brew ran out, and it's fighting me. It's okay. We're going to get this. There we go. Beautiful. To be clear, that was not hard.
All right, final boss time. Make some noise for GMS.
And I'm going to pay close attention to the sound at the start of this, because during the segment earlier, I simply did not recognize it. No, but this is the final boss. She is Grandmother Silk, best embodied by the idea Grandma No.
Shout outs to Silly Block later this week.
We are going to be using a lot of dash cancels, and that attack there is the triple damage attack. So if we get caught, oh, okay, that's fine. If we get caught by those silk threads, we go through a pretty long animation that also hurts quite a lot. So we want to avoid that. This is not quite the end of the fight, and it sounds like the audience was well aware of that.
I think the people have played Silksong by now.
Yeah, this is a fake out. No final boss would be complete without, of course, a final phase. And we will once again be using our Flea Brew because we can.
All right, worth noting here right at the end, if the Flea Brew is empty, you can throw the bottle. It does almost no damage.
It deals
but it does style on them.
Entire damage. And yes, there is a meme run where you have to beat every boss by getting the final hit with the Flea Brew bottle.
And so that's for AGDQ 2027? What are we thinking?
Absolutely. Yeah, this game is incredible. I need to be careful. Okay.
There we go. Time is coming up. It will be on the full white screen after this cutscene.
All right, very close. And time. All right, so we, of course, are not quite done yet because that Flea Games Showcase incentive did get met.
Do you remember like an hour and a half ago when we hit that? Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane. Thank you for all your donations going to an absolutely incredible cause. To get to the Flea Games, I do need to switch to a different save file. Unfortunately, the credit sequence is quite long here, so I will need to Alt F4 out of the game and then load back in to get started with that.
Yeah, so if we can get a cover. Thank you, tech team.
All right.
Shout out to the tech team.
Shout outs to the tech team, for real.
But yes, what we'll be doing now is showcasing the 3 Flea mini games that are available at the Flea Festival. This is quite difficult to unlock and would add a tremendous amount of time to the run. I have prepared a separate save file, which is in our favorite location, the Putrefied Ducts. You'll notice a couple of things are a little bit different about the save file, namely I am using the Wanderer's Crest, and I seem to have a lot more health. This may or may not be a snapshot from a 100% speedrun, but don't worry about it. We will be getting all of those fleas saved bright and early here.
It's okay, there's not a timer running. We can Putrefied Ducks can do Putrefied Ducks things. All right.
Okay, so now we are ready to start the Flea Game Showcase. So you'll see it looks very sad here. Fleatopia is looking a little rougher than it was, but if we talk to Mushka here, we can accept this quest. This is called Ecstasy of the End, and things aren't going that well here, but we have the fleas to save us. So these are going to be the Flea Games. And we can go ahead and start that timer. But yeah, so there are 3 Flea games. The first that we're going to be doing is Flea Juggle. The point of Flea Juggle is to keep all of the fleas in the air for 3 hits and don't let them hit the floor. Now, we are going to be keeping the fleas in the air using our needle, which is why it's very imperative that the fleas have donned their safety equipment. They all have those bells that you may have seen on such enemies as the Deep Docks Arena. So rest assured, these fleas are not being harmed. And in fact, they're having a great time. Look at them.
The air conditioning is on, and he is listening to his favorite tunes.
That there was Grishkin coming in for a quick dip in the juggle bin. Grishkin takes 4 hits and is therefore time loss, but that's okay. When it comes to the fleas, everything is worth it. Oh, double Grishkin. We like double time loss.
He just wanted to hang out. Worth noting for this showcase that Math is going to be getting the gold rank on each of these 3 mini games. There is a secret second achievement rank above the gold rank that is for true Flea minigame sickos, but we do not want to be here for about 30 additional minutes trying to beat Seth, so we're gonna get gold rank and that'll be it.
Yes, the Seth scores are a cause of frustration for many a casual player. Also, I got a little bit confused there about which flea was falling faster. So you get 3 strikes in juggle. Right now we're up to 2 because I got a little bit confused there, but that's okay. The score to beat, so you'll see the score ticking up slightly. With each flea that we hit 3 times, or 4 in the case of Grishkin, we have the score increment by 1, and we need that score to go to 31. Right now it's at 30, so 1 more flea, and of course I'll save these for good measure, and we are good. So you see the score turn gold.
Just took 2 hits to keep it interesting.
Yeah, just need to keep us on edge. Now, the next game is Flea Dodge, and the point of this game is to stay on these platforms while a whole bunch of fleas are going to come by and try to knock me off. The platforms are also all temporary platforms and can and will disappear with only a little bit of warning. So you see the platform next to me disappearing like that. New platforms do also spawn in, and we need to do our best to avoid getting hit by the fleas. If we get hit by them, oh no!
Oh my God!
So the platforms disappear randomly and can sometimes be absolutely rude. Like
That was a
okay.
bile water level troll.
So the goal of Flea Dodge is to stay on the platforms as long as possible. The gold score here is 66 seconds and not a second more. We will be seeing if we can survive that long, but this is easily the hardest of the games in my opinion. Flea Juggle gets a little bit consistent once you get used to it, but Flea Dodge just has so much randomness in terms of fleas, in terms of whether they'll partake in the flea brew and get a little bit of a speed boost. Which fleas show up. If the giant flea shows up, they destroy all the platforms on the screen. Things get very hectic, and there's just a whole lot of fleas on the screen that can be quite difficult to keep track of.
It's worth noting if a flea does hit Math, you do get put into a lot of hit stun, but it is not an instant game over. Only falling off of the platforms game overs you hear, which is why the platform disappearing from under Math is literally the worst thing that could have happened.
Yeah, that was extremely rude. And you can use tricks to try to stay in the air. Namely, you can do your best to claw line or wings.
Not a second more, huh?
I might have waited a second more there. All right, so that's Flea Dodge, and I'm very glad to be past it. That game is easily the hardest of the 3, in my opinion. This last one is the Flea Bounce, and this is where having the Wanderer crest is quite nice, in my opinion. The goal of this game is to stay in the air as long as possible, but instead of platforms, what we have are fleas to keep us in the air. Now, once again, safety first. All of the fleas do have the proper helmets. So don't worry, they are safe. Also, in this game, Krat does appear always on the sides, and it's usually not worth going over to hit Krat.
Much as we'd like to.
Yeah, the best way to hit Krat is with helmet off.
Yeah, and you should have run Dapper Slapper for that one.
True. Also worth noting, time will not be at the end of getting the gold score here. We do have to properly ring in the flea games with a quick celebration.
Yes, so that is the gold score. That one's at 42 fleas. But once you, let me show the scoreboard here. So once we take top place here, that definitely will not be beaten by a particular flea or a particular bug later, we can talk to Mushka, who will set up a piñata for us to celebrate. And you can break this open. It has all sorts of shards, all sorts of rosaries. It's a beautiful reward, and it also contains a pale oil. This pale oil is used to upgrade our needle, and yes, that does mean that these games are required in the 100% speedrun. But that is time. All right, and I'll just play the needle in for these fleas while we do this. They do sing along, and I just want to thank the Silksong meme speedrunning community. It's absolutely incredible. Shoutouts to everyone who donated for the Flea Game Showcase. Shoutouts to GDQ for having me on the stage. This was my first mainline GDQ run, and I'm so happy it was a woo%. This was such a fun run, and just thank you so much for having me. And you want to do your shout-outs?
I will briefly plug, if you are looking for more GDQ after the marathon, I run a hotfix show called Make Your Own Victory that is entirely dedicated to playing video games wrong on purpose. I hope if this has inspired you in any way, you consider doing that. But most of all, I hope you follow this man on Twitch at Cthulhu. He deserves the world and then some.
Math, just thank you for having me on here. And indie games, play them, support the indie devs, is what we're here for.
Yeah, big thank you to GDQ and also MSF for all of the amazing work that they do, and of course, trans rights. Woo.